Hello everyone and welcome back. So, Grim, as you are chatting to this merchant, he sees you're interested in the belt, and you talk about it for a little while. He tells you the story, and he gives you his opening offer, which is 620 gold.
Wow.
That's a lot of money for something you don't know what does.
How much?
620.
That's
But that's his opening offer. So
I have like 400 gold if you want it.
yeah. Well, look, we're gonna haggle. This is
Oh, okay.
unacceptable. Although I think I should probably get you guys in so I can actually pay him once the deal is done.
Yeah.
1 million years dungeon.
And one of you guys might actually be able. Actually, no, I couldn't decipher what it did, could I?
you didn't try. All you
should-
did was an investigation check to find magic stuff.
Okay, I should
Yeah.
probably check if I can actually tell what it does.
Okay,
Do an Arcana check.
give me an Arcana check, and you get your gnome bonus, don't you?
Oh, no, that's history only.
It's only history. Okay.
So if we have some like legendary artifacts, I will know everything. Arcana.
Nope.
It's okay-ish, but not
You
good enough.
can't identify what this does.
So, well, I guess any character will be like, well, so you're telling me you don't know what it does, and you're asking 620 gold for it.
Yes, I am.
You know what? I might have someone who can help me figure out what it does, but I doubt we're gonna be in it. Like, 620. That's steep. Like, how about 400?
He looks at you low and hard for a moment and says, I tell you what, bring your friend over and I'll think about knocking the price down a bit.
Fine. Okay. I
Gather the
guess
party before venturing forth.
who should I all gather? I guess I should gather at least V because magic.
I mean, you actually have a higher Arcana modifier than I do, but
Yeah, but like you're in
You're the
touch with
next.
magic, and
Yeah.
then I guess
That
we'll get
doesn't help.
Vondal.
No, but you're the
You
next
always
best
help.
person to make an Arcana check. I think
Yeah.
that's his point.
okay.
Yeah, but like, and then I'll probably grab Vondal, and well, I guess I need the person with the money.
I have money.
Yeah.
How much do you
has
have?
money.
I have 432 gold.
Holy shit.
Oh, okay. I guess. I guess we have enough. It's just you and. Yeah, and I guess if anybody was near you guys, then you're welcome to join as well.
Okay. So yeah, you gather up some of your companions. Does somebody want to make an Arcana check?
Yeah.
Okay, make it.
It's one higher.
God.
Believe it or not,
That's
that
the
is
DC.
enough.
Is that it? Oh my god.
Really?
Okay.
It was a DC 19.
So, I can show this to Helena.
I can't fucking believe.
Huzzah.
Okay, so V studies the belt for a little while.
Oh, this is kind of like a potion I have a little bit. It's like it can make you like really tiny or really big. Or not like really tiny or really big. Just a little bit.
Oh.
Oh.
Ah.
It is
Ah.
a belt of size changing.
Oh, that's definitely interesting.
Hmm.
Oh, wait,
So like
that,
if you were use on Grim, he would be really small.
He'd be like.
Or
Real
really big.
No, not really big. Because he's already.
Oh
kind
wait,
of-
hold on. Yeah, I realized there's a typo in that. It shouldn't be small to large. It should be small to medium.
So when you use enlarge, you double in all dimensions, or your size doubles in all dimensions. And your weight is multiplied by 8. This growth increases your size by 1 category, from small to medium. If there isn't enough room for you to double your size, you attain the maximum possible size in the space available. So the spell ends.
Oh
you
my
also
god, you
have
just like
advantage.
fill the size with your body.
You
Jeez.
have advantage on strength checks and strength saving throws. Your weapons also grow to match your size. While these weapons are enlarged, your attacks with them deal 1d4 extra damage. If you shrink, your size is halved in all dimensions, and your weight is reduced to 1/8 of normal. This reduction decreases your size by 1 category, from small to tiny. Until the effect ends, you also have this advantage on strength checks and strength saving throws. Weapons also shrink to match your new size. While these weapons are reduced, your attacks with them deal 1d4 less damage, and this can't reduce the damage below 1.
This is actually way more useful than I expected, because
Yeah.
being medium also means I can grapple and
Yeah.
like bash large creatures.
Yeah, you can body block more easily.
And being tiny would make you really stealthy.
True. I can be tiny clanky boy.
Okay, you can be
Oh my
tiny.
God.
Sneak
No,
in.
it makes, like,
you
little
can be
clink
clanky. You can be
noises.
tiny.
Clink,
No,
clink,
he
clink,
could
clink,
be-
clink, clink.
He could be tiny,
Oh.
be carried by the stealthy people,
Oh my
and then if they
God.
get into danger, he grows to medium size and is there,
Christ.
just ready to fight.
It does only work for a minute, so.
Oh.
And it's once
Ah,
per day,
bummer.
so you can. It's once per day, so you can only enlarge.
So
your
not as
shield.
exciting as we thought.
It's still
It's still
exciting
good, though.
because
Yeah,
like
it's still good.
Yeah. Let's still.
Oh, I will point out as well, once the 1 minute is up, you return to your normal size. You don't stay that size. So.
yeah, that's
That makes sense.
makes sense.
It is functionally the spell Enlarge Reduce, but on a magic item.
That is very, very interesting.
Yes.
I mean, still the stealth aspect of that still applies.
Yes.
But it
No.
seems like only a person who is already kind of diminutive.
Yeah, it's because it's a halfling belt. It will only fit on size small creatures.
But there's only one person in our party who's a size small creature.
Or else we need to cast enlarge on the belt, and then someone else can wear it for a minute.
But then it will only be for yeah.
Yeah.
That would be.
And it'll suddenly shrink while it's on them.
Yeah,
I was
it
more
would.
thinking like, if you can do that to the belt, just do it to the person. That was more my
Yeah.
thing. But yeah, that would definitely be useful. Oh, the next time we get blocked in by Duragar, we can just bash our way out.
Right. Do some haggling.
Well, wait. I guess the question is, did he hear the explanation?
Did you conceal it from him? That's my question.
We probably wouldn't.
Yeah, I doubt.
Okay, so he hears.
Well, it does have some uses, I guess. It's kind of a neat party trick. So 400.
Make me a deception check.
Christ.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Party trick. Wow.
Oh, Graham, why are you like
Yeah.
this?
He
you don't-
he doesn't buy the neat party trick and says, what about 500?
Still too expensive.
500 is still a little steep. Actually, like, does he? What kind of other things does he sell? Maybe we can like turn it into like.
Yeah, most of the other stuff that he has is sort of, again, more just curios. Like, he's got, like, maybe, like, a handful of potions or something. But it seems like he gets around on sort of, like, trading odd items. So he might be interested in buying if you've got some stuff.
Yes, because I have.
We do still have stuff in the bag of holding under treasure.
Yeah, but we don't really have things that we want to. Like, I doubt he wants the brass
Yeah, I
ore.
don't think you'd want the stuff in our treasure section.
And the ceremonial first age dwarven half plates seems a little out of his league.
Yes. Vondal wants that anyway.
Keep it all to that one.
Well, I guess the question is, does anyone still need a health potion or something?
I've got one on me. But I think we're good health potion-wise. We
I
haven't
don't think
used them in like a.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've got 2 on me.
I've got 1.
Maybe we should give one to
Yeah.
Saphira. I hate that name so much.
What? Wow.
Because I can't.
Wow.
I either have to like do the TH thing on both or neither, and it just doesn't work. The Zero. Okay.
I guess I have a. Otherwise, I could perhaps trade in a. No, I kind of want to keep the alchemist fire.
I still have a beta force.
Yeah, like I feel
Well,
like trading those.
What have
away-
your companions got that might be that you don't ever use?
I think yeah. Anybody want to have something they want to get rid of?
Well, I have that scroll of hideous puns, and I still apparently have a palm-sized jade cat. You're welcome to either of those 2 things.
Wait, what? Does the jade cat do anything?
I have no idea.
No, it is literally just a carved jade sculpture of a cat.
Yeah. So
You
it's-
you
yeah.
held onto it for no explainable reason.
I don't even remember where I picked it up from.
It reminds you.
I don't
It
either.
reminds you of Nugget.
I have no idea where I got it from.
I still have my potion of diminution. Yeah, whatever.
Oh, wait, that's the same thing as the belt does.
It's the same thing as the
Yeah.
belt, but it's single use.
Single use, and it only makes you tiny, not big.
Alright,
The other stuff that I have is too useful to let go.
yeah. Well, perhaps we could get like what would like how much would the tiny. Wait, I guess I should ask. Do you want to get rid of the statue?
Please just take it. I literally have no use
How,
for it.
how much would you like? How much would you give for this statue in trade?
He will knock like maybe 5 or 10 gold off the price.
Wow.
It's
literally-
not that valuable.
Yeah, I figured.
Yeah, like otherwise we probably have remembered.
Keep the cat.
So how about this? I give you 480 and the cats.
Well, hang on.
Or no?
Because what about some scrolls of inflict wounds?
Oh
But
yeah.
no,
that's-
those are useful. Yeah, I don't know if we. I'm
Now
really
that I'm
questioning.
even more of a ranged character, do I really need melee spells I haven't used?
Look, I'm really
since,
questioning
like,
the
fifth
value of this fucking belt. I mean, I know it's like cool and whatever, but I don't know
And
if
that's
it's
the
gonna be
thing, I've
worth
got
500
two.
gold.
I've got 2 of them. We
Well,
could
if
could
you-
give him 1.
The thing is, like, you know how all my bashing and all my grappling and a lot of my things are limited to affecting medium-sized creatures or smaller. With this belt, I could also affect large creatures.
Yes, he could grapple and knock down large creatures. He would have advantage on strength checks and saving throws against effects, and it would functionally with his war darts, it would double his damage.
That's a fair point.
Yeah,
It also has the advantage of you can go tiny if you want.
it is a pretty big thing for Grim. It ups his
Is that
combat
supposed to be
capacity
a
quite a
bum?
lot.
Ha.
It actually wasn't, but I've apparently made one by accident.
Yeah, he is. If you offer him the scrolls, he is interested in taking the scrolls.
I'm not sure.
Well,
if
I guess unless he gives a very, very high, like good price, because
Yeah. Well, how much would he give me for each?
For the 2 scrolls, somebody give me a persuasion check.
Hello.
V, please.
24.
Holy shit.
He'll knock 100 gold off the price
100.
For the 2 of them.
for both scrolls. Yeah, 50 each.
So there you go. That gives you your original price plus the 2 scrolls.
are you guys okay with it? Because well, it's like still like a big investment.
Look, I'll just give.
I mean, I've still got some reservations, but
Yeah, I don't know if we should give away the scrolls really, but
Well, I could give
Like
away
the
just
scrolls
one.
aren't
That'll still
necessary.
knock 50 gold off.
Like the J cat idol. It's like well, it's just dead weight anyway.
That's the thing. I could offer 1 scroll. That way, I'd still have one if I somehow desperately need it, and it'll still knock 50 gold off.
yeah, okay. Grim, just take my 400 gold because I don't want to
Oh,
like do it later, where we're just like, wait,
Yeah.
how much gold is everyone giving to this? Just take
Yeah.
my 400 gold.
Yeah,
Oh.
if you give him the scroll and the jade cat, it will go down to 440.
How about you
Now
just?
You now have
Wait.
400 gold.
Yeah, okay. 440. That would be minus 40.
Minus 40 from you, and you can get it.
That was okay. Yeah.
-1 scroll.
Wait. Aren't you then completely out of money?
I have 32.
Oh, okay.
It's enough. And V doesn't care.
Yeah. I was
Yeah.
gonna say.
Well, it's more like practical, from a practical point of view.
32 should be enough. Because let's be honest, anytime we buy something big, we all get together anyway.
That's true.
Yeah, and we're usually near enough by that if somebody needs to borrow money, it's like somebody's there for it.
Yeah, it's not
I
that
imagine Vera just sees like this fucking.
Yeah,
Oh,
she sees you guys like exchanging like literally fuckloads of gold, and she's like mind blown.
big. Yeah.
Things
Oh,
are
no,
very
would you
different
see-
now.
Would she have seen us turning over 400 gold's worth of gemstones for
I
like a
just
massive
realized-
fuck-off diamond?
I just
Probably.
realized the most amazing thing. I can be Tiny Grim with the spring blade.
Oh my
Oh my
god.
Oh my
God.
god.
This was a terrible idea.
I can't believe
You know
we're
that
enabling him
that turns
this.
that scene from the that turns to that scene from Night at the Museum 2, where it's the little soldiers running around at everyone's feet.
Yeah. Well,
Just turns to
Cool,
that scene, like,
so-
someone goes to stomp on him and he just pricks them in the foot and they're like,
Turn over those things, and you get the belt of size changing.
Oh,
nice.
nice.
Boom.
It doesn't seem to require attunement, so.
Oh.
Yes.
It does no, it does not require attunement.
Oh, nice.
That is another advantage.
Can I be like, Grim, do it, do it, do it?
I guess the question is, shall I go big or shall I go small?
I mean, you
I
don't want to
think
go
tiny-
big in the middle of the,
I think
in the
tiny's
middle of a busy market square. It's a bit kind of.
Except he would just grow to normal height.
He would.
You know, like it's not like the Duragar where they're like
Yeah, I
massive.
suppose.
Yeah, he doesn't go large. He just goes medium.
I'm like I'm Kelariis sized.
Oh my God,
Not
he would be.
quite.
Not quite.
Well,
I don't know. What is it?
actually,
It don't-
It's in
actually,
all
like-
dimensions. That'd make him
6 foot 6.
Oh
Yeah, that
fuck.
makes So he would be
He'd
taller
be
than
3
Kelariis
inches
by
taller
doing
than me.
it. That's amazing.
Perfect. I'll go tiny just to
You go tiny.
try
Okay.
it out.
So yeah, you shrink to like a similar height that like you remember Cobweb was.
Oh,
Oh.
I love
Nice.
it.
And there's a tiny Grim on the ground for 1 minute.
Oh, he's gonna get
Go on, V, do you wanna
stepped
carry him,
on.
V? Do you want to carry him, V?
Like,
Yeah, I'll pick him up with my hands.
Okay, you scoop him
If he
up.
wants to be picked up.
sure. Well, I'm.
Well, he has disadvantage to resist you, so
I'm still like
Doesn't have a
1.5
won't
foot
forcefully
tall.
pick him up.
I'm still like 1.5 foot. It's
Yeah.
like it's not. It's
like a baby.
small. I can't believe you're gonna.
yeah, he's like a baby. Well, even
Oh
smaller
my
than a
God.
baby.
Christ.
Welcome to this
Baby.
world.
It's a
Speaking
baby in
of babies.
full armor.
Speaking of babies, Vondal, I need you to help me bless.
Oh yeah.
Christ.
She tried to bless a baby earlier, and it didn't really go well.
It was
Right.
okay.
It was fine. It just wasn't great.
Why did you try to do that?
Well, I was thinking that if the shadow of death was, blessing people dying, then I should be blessing people who are born.
That's
I-
logic that makes sense.
I was like, I can't really find an argument for that logic.
Logic is pretty flawless there.
Would Vondal know any blessings or like little prayers of some significant relevance?
Yeah,
I'd assume
you've
that
spent
would be-
like literally
Yeah.
years of clerical training, so
Yeah,
I would hope
exactly.
so.
So yeah, he'd probably like suggest a couple, and obviously like suggest rewording because they probably
Yeah.
be like a bit specific for these purposes, but be like something like this.
Okay. Do I have to think of something specific? Is it like... It's weird when you just say it. Does it have to be like magical on some level? Do I,
I
have
think
to
as
feel
long as-
something change?
Yeah. I think as long as you mean it, it's carries the intention.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, like that's most.
It is
blessings
about putting
anyway,
a degree of feeling into it.
Hmm.
You've got to sort of truly believe that that person is being blessed, so to speak.
Okay, I can do that.
As long as you're sincere.
All right. What else do we need to do?
Yep.
Can we find the people now? The jerky people?
Yeah.
probably should.
Okay. You're gonna go and look for. Let me open my notes. Merlin's band. Tallithsyr points you towards the watering hole. And yeah, basically says the last time I saw them, they were in there in one of the back rooms.
Well, that's as good a place to start as any.
Indeed.
Yeah, so you arrive at the watering hole. It's sort of like the beginning of early afternoon. There's like a couple of people in here, sort of like celebrating the end of the workday. A couple of drinks, and you speak to the bartender, who points you to a room in the back where Merlin's band are supposedly renting the space. You go towards the back room, and there's just like a wooden door that's just got a little sign hanging off it that just says reserved.
Let's knock on the door.
Okay, you knock on the door. A voice calls from inside, "Come in."
Yeah, I guess we open the door.
Okay.
Let's go.
Yeah, you step inside, and there's basically there's like five humans in this back room of a bar. It's quite clearly like not meant to be an office of any kind. Like there's like a bar, you know, like the plush seats that are up against a wall with a table like built in front of it. There's that in one corner, and then on the opposite side of the room, there's like a setup that can sort of like be broken down, but is currently like sort of set up to be like a small stage front. And you get these are sort of like the rooms that you'd go for like private entertainment, like if you pay a bard or something. Right now, sat around the table is a tall and very sort of like thick bearded man who is in the process of like reading a number of pieces of paper that are in front of him, and he's got like a small stack of coins. Either side of him are two other individuals, and sitting on the setup stage are another two humans who seem to be in the process of like cleaning armor and sharpening weapons. And the bearded man sort of waves to you, looking sort of fairly confused at the majority of your group, and says, "Ho, friends! Welcome to the somewhat temporary headquarters of Merlin's band. How can I help?"
Are you Maryland?
I am, yes.
Okay, well, we kind of wanted to talk to you about this girl.
You reveal Tallithsyr. Give me an insight check.
Can we all do this?
Just V because of your passive perception.
Where's my insight? There it is.
Okay.
16.
He looks mildly concerned when you reveal Tallithsyr, and he says, "Right, okay. What exactly is this about?"
She was
Just,
kind
I've-
of... Yeah, okay, go on, go on.
Kelariis steps in.
yeah, who's the person
wait,
who
I
actually
don't want to,
wanted
like,
to
I
do
don't want
this
to, like,
again?
take this scene away from you.
No, it's okay. Like, it's fine that we started talking first, because honestly, that probably would have
Yeah.
happened, because it's me.
The man's eyes get slightly wider as a dragonborn in full plate mail steps into the room.
I thought we were all good, but okay.
Yeah, I thought we all walked in together, but sure, fair enough.
Oh no, you were in the doorway. Like
I see.
Fair enough.
he said, "Come in," and V started talking, and the rest of you were just sort of behind V as she walked into the room.
Right, okay.
That's fair.
Makes sense.
He couldn't see the majority of you until.
Yeah, well, my understanding is that there was a bit of a discrepancy in terms of how was it a contract, I guess, was handled?
Yes.
Yeah, how a past contract was handled and how you promised her, or you said that she would be considered part of your band, and then went back on that.
He runs his fingers through his beard and sort of says, "Well, I'm sorry, but I've said to the Burgermeister everything that all the way it was. She was never officially on the records. She's not part of the group."
And yet you told her otherwise.
I never promised her anything. At which point Tallithsyr chimes up and says, "You did."
Does he react to that at all?
Give me an insight check.
Oh boy. Where's my insight? No, it's not.
A mild flicker of irritation.
Look, we don't want to make this a big deal, but if you promised her something, then you owe her whatever it is you promised her, whether it's on a record or not. And she did help you, from my understanding, so...
Is this a persuasion?
Yeah, I guess so. Because I'm not trying to, like, I'm not threatening him at all. Like, I don't feel like threatening him. I'm just, you know...
Okay, give me a persuasion check then.
Okay.
Okay.
Could've-
Shakes his head and says, "Done deal's a done deal. Cards fall where they will."
I don't like this guy. I don't like this guy at all. I don't say that, but I don't like this guy. He makes me very upset.
I think it makes Kelariis very upset as well.
I know.
I mean, are we... I guess if you just sort of ask this to Kelariis, are we hoping to get the money back, or are we hoping to convince them, or...
I want him to follow through with his word that he gave. That's what I'm looking for here.
I didn't give no word. Tallithsyr is just scowling at this point.
Well then, what did you offer?
Shrug.
Because if you can't offer an alternative, then I find it more than believable that you will have offered someone compensation for their assistance. We would like to see that compensation.
Yeah, can I like elbow Grim a little bit and be like, can you like tell him how to properly run like a mercenary guild?
Oh my god!
Oh
I love you, V.
Well, there are things called verbal contracts, although they are like slightly less stable or harder to prove. There are some ways they can be, well, this what's it called revealed, but usually that requires a lot of effort, and even though we could go through all that effort to, well, get the truth out, it would really save us a lot of time and yourself a lot of energy, by just going ahead and tell her, like, just solve the problem the way you promised, or else, like, it's not going to be good for your guild either. Deceit is rarely a good trait.
This sounds like a threat to me.
Well, actually, it wasn't. It wasn't like a threat, but I guess it. Well, I guess it's good enough.
I mean, that's a threat.
Yeah, I mean, you're basically saying cough up, or else, like, I'm gonna give you a bad reputation, basically.
Sure.
Is a scowling dragonborn enough to give him advantage?
I will say you can help with an intimidate check.
Oh god, okay.
Oh, actually, this is.
Oh Jesus.
Okay.
Nice. Why are you like
A
this?
4!
Okay.
Do I...
Wow.
Oh god.
He very poignantly leans over the table and sort of says, "You can say what you want. I ain't giving no stinking dragon no stinking gold."
Well, that's fine.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I
Look,
think
give me-
you'll want to choose your words a bit more wisely.
Yeah, do not.
Let's look. I don't want trouble, but don't do this again. Please.
I think he just looks at you levelly and says, "Or what?"
We'll beat you the fuck up, motherfucker.
I know, I'm just like, I don't really want to promise that, but that's really what it comes down to.
I'm pretty sure. Wait. Well, give us a minute. Vondal. Oh, can I just step outside really quick?
Bye, Grim.
No, with
I mean-
Vondal.
I mean, you can. The scene will continue without you. Depends what you want to ask.
Well, like, oh, maybe not like entirely outside, but I'm just quick. Like, it was in Rorik's Gate. Oh, where did? Because someone used Zone of Truth on us.
Yes. Well, if you want to ask Cav out of character, does he have Zone of Truth? Then you can do.
Well, I know he has it because I
Yeah,
know.
okay.
I know it's a
Okay, so
character,
you're asking at you step outside and you're like, do you happen to have that spell available?
No.
Fuck.
Oh no, I mean, like, out of character, I know, but in character, I know it was like a clerical thing.
Unfortunately, I cannot at the moment.
How about we're gonna spend the night here anyway. How about you, like, prep your spell, and we can come in and sort this ordeal, well, in a slightly less threatening fashion.
As Vondal and Grim are having this conversation outside, you are locked in a staring contest with this man, Kelariis.
Oh, yeah.
What? Do you really want to dedicate this much effort to it?
Do you want to do anything whilst they are
Really
having this
do.
conversation?
I guess in response to what he said, I don't want it to come to this, but I will make sure it doesn't happen.
So,
I have no idea what that's supposed to mean, because
Yeah,
what do you mean? But, like, he doesn't know that.
well, I think my question is, like, how is Kelariis, like, enforcing this statement, or is it just words?
I mean, she doesn't physically do anything, if that... at this point. but I think she says it as if it's like if she catches wind of it, she'll come back and like have quote unquote have a chat with him. But he has no idea because she's like, we're leaving basically in the next day or two at the
Okay.
most.
So yeah, I think you can still make me an intimidate check here.
Okay.
Okay.
Fuck.
I think you say that, and he just sort of he sits back, and sort of like he just gives you like a look that he just generally has a distaste for you.
Yeah, feelings mutual, buddy.
Yeah, and I like, yeah, Vondal and Grim, you finish your.
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I was gonna like write the thing to convince him.
Well, I guess if we can continue the conversation.
Because I don't see any other way that this is gonna end in a lawful resolution. So, like, all we would have to do is to convince Kelariis to back down for a day, which is going to be a challenge. But if we can, things could be done a lot easier. And all it will take you is a single spell. Oh?
He's having a think. I still question whether you think it is worth the effort.
Well, think of it like this: like, how much effort is it truly? And do you want to stand by whilst people abuse the law you try and uphold in such a way surely, like, by law the people aren't innocent, but that's only because they made them break the law.
Yeah, I'll point out at this stage, like, technically, he hasn't done anything wrong legally. He's taken advantage of somebody who didn't know any better.
Yeah.
So
Which
I
is,
guess,
like,
so
not
Vondal's
great.
just gonna go.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm trying to convince him that, like, forcing people to break the law is equal to breaking the law. Because if he had done as he said he had done, she wouldn't have broken the law, because everything would have been fine. But because he went back on his word, she was the one that broke the law, not him, even though it was his fault.
There is a passage in the Book of Torm that says know the laws as they are given to you. So
Fuck's sake.
Well, actually no, that reinforces your stance of not doing anything.
Yeah. This
Cause-
is the thing. It was very much her duty to be aware of these things, and as far as I'm concerned, if he's not backing down, she's no longer being unlawfully imprisoned. She has received the payment that was promised. It's better to leave it.
She hasn't
No.
received the payment she was promised. She has received payment from someone else to try and compensate for something she didn't get.
At the end of the day, they haven't technically broken any laws.
While this entire conversation is happening, there is an increasingly extended, uncomfortable silence / staring contest.
As far as I'm concerned, this situation is not worth getting further into.
Also, I'll point out that despite not having Zone of Truth, you do have access to a method of making people tell the truth.
I know, and I'm really thinking if this is a time to use it.
Oh no.
I'm just afraid he's gonna lie and die to the damage.
I mean, that's his own damn fault.
Can we be
You
like,
cast a spell on him now.
Hold on, let me check something very quickly because I'm
Maybe,
fucking pissed right now.
Actually, I've
Let V
what
go
would-
first.
what What would it make you? What would? Okay. What would it take for you to just say the truth? It doesn't have to be complicated, but what is it? If there's anything that you want, what is it?
I've got everything I want, sweetheart.
That's not true. Money doesn't make people happy.
He looks at his companions. Makes me perfectly happy.
Yeah, they're mercenaries. Money makes them very, very happy. Just look at Grim. Anyway.
Grim is very different. How dare you compare him?
Anyway, he doesn't say that.
Oh, not in that sense.
He's outside in the corridor.
No. Yeah, really, they've not done anything to break the law.
Well,
she's no longer unlawfully imprisoned. She's received money for what she's done, whether it's from the right people or not.
okay.
I'm perfectly happy to leave this as resolved.
No.
Let me put it
You
like
know
this.
what?
Oh, there we go.
You're
No.
not in on this conversation.
No, I'm not talking to you guys. I'm talking to this fucker.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
No, that was not obvious.
No, I know. I realize it's because I cut in on the middle of that, but
Yeah.
it's fine. If you're so adamant that you're telling your own truth, or the whole truth on your side of it, and that you haven't done anything wrong, then you'll let me. I'm trying to think how she'd word this. Then you'll let me ask you a couple of questions in a different manner. And I guess I'm gonna fucking pull out the thing,
Okay.
the rod, and
Yeah, you pull
use
it
the
out.
special thing, which I've never done, so this is gonna
Okay.
be interesting.
So,
God.
as you pull the rod,
Piss off.
the guys who are like cleaning gear seem like they react to you like pulling the thing, and they go for their weapons, but it's before that even happens, you lean over the table and touch the tip of the rod to him, and for those of you who've played any of the Shadow of Mordor games, you go very Bright Lord on him for a moment.
Oh.
Um,
No.
You are surrounded with an amber light as the aspect of Tritherion fills you, and the two of you are teleported to a different plane. Well,
What?
your spirits are.
What?
So
When was Kelariis banished from death?
for the rest of you,
It's
like
fine.
Kelariis and this dude, like she touches him with a rod, and they become like frozen in time, and the two of them are just like surrounded by this amber light. And I can't remember how long the questioning actually lasts for. I believe it's like 6 seconds per question.
I don't think you wrote it down for me, because it just says I can ask 3 questions that must be answered truthfully, or the creature takes 3d6 psychic damage.
Yeah,
I
so
know if they were answered or not.
Okay, so yeah,
basically.
it's basically like 6 seconds per question, because the time is ever so slightly amplified in while you're in the crossroads because
Okay.
of Feywild time fuckery.
Good old
Yeah,
Feywild time
Feywild.
fuckery.
Oh, that Feywild.
So
Goddamn.
yeah,
Feywild time.
these two dudes draw weapons. Everybody else seems like surprised for a second. What are the rest of you guys in the room doing?
Do the other guys like pull weapons at us or something?
Two of them have like picked up swords and are just sort of like, what the hell's going on?
I don't know.
That's fine.
I mean, V doesn't know what the fuck just happened, so.
Like, are you doing anything to react, or are you just staying there?
I think we're just staying there, right?
Okay. Well, in that case, they're gonna gesture around with their weapons and move towards Kelariis. Which in turn, you hear like the scraping of metal as Tallithsyr draws her sword.
No, the syrup, please.
And yeah, there is a standoff. What are the rest of you guys doing? guys in the corridor, you hear the sounds of weapons being drawn.
In that case, I'm walking back in.
It's fine. I'm not gonna hurt him.
You
unless he
see
dies.
Kelariis and this dude surrounded in amber light.
Can
I've
we
got
just
my
be like,
eyes.
look? Can we be like, look, I'm sure that this is like a bad thing, or please don't draw weapons. It's all fine.
Give me a persuasion check.
I believe in you, V.
Power of just being like, do not fight.
Yeah.
Oh, finally, a good roll
Wow.
there.
Bless.
They don't put down their weapons, but they hesitate long enough for the thing to finish. So Kelariis and I will now go into a different room, and Kelariis can
Oh,
ask 3
Jesus.
questions.
Oh,
boy.
dear.
Okay, bye
I have
guys.
to ask 3 questions.
Okay.
Hello.
So yeah, as you touch the baton to this guy's chest, you feel yourself like whisked away, like out of your own body to essentially. Hang on, let me change the music track because this is not thematically appropriate. You are whisked away to you get the same sensation as when you entered the Feywild for the first time, and you find yourself standing in the middle of a forest. Except on the ground underneath you, there are you are literally standing at a crossroads of 2 paths.
Right, just like the last time.
Yes, yeah, exactly the same as when Velt performed the orb ritual on you. Yeah, and you find yourself standing at the crossroads in the middle of a forest, and the man is standing in front of you, and he looks utterly terrified and is sort of like looking around at his surroundings, but like the rod is still like touching. You're still holding the rod to his chest, and he seems to be completely paralyzed while you're doing this. I need to
Alright,
check the
well.
exact ruling on this artifact. Okay.
Yeah. Well, answer me truthfully then. What exactly did you promise her? Or did you say to her? Sorry, not promise her.
Okay. He looks at you and says, "Nothing. I didn't tell her nothing." He then proceeds to bend over in pain, as waves of energy seem to rack his body. At which point he looks at you and says, "Okay. She seemed a gullible sort, so I got her to do a job, but we were going to take the payment for it."
But you... I have to think of this very carefully because I only have 3 questions to ask. And how did you word your, I guess, proposition to her?
Let me think about how he would have worded it. We told her that she could be part of the group and help us if she helped us take out these gnolls. We didn't tell her about the reward, but we figured she'd never work it out anyway. All we said was that she could tag along and help, and she'd be part of our group.
Okay. So knowing what I am capable of, will you give her what she's owed?
Hmm. He looks like he's still afraid, but he looks like he looks angry for a moment, and he says, "No, you know what? I won't. I'm sick and tired of your people coming into our lands and taking stuff like it's yours to own. That's why we set her up."
Do I get a response, or does it immediately like kick us out of this?
I will give you like a couple of seconds to say something as like the thing fades.
Okay. She's not one of the people who did any of that, and I despise people like you who take advantage of an individual who wants to help.
Okay, and with that, the bond breaks and you're thrust back into the room.
Okay.
Some way.
God.
Okay.
Guys, please! This argument is going nowhere fast. Good
No.
God.
It's a good thing it's over now.
Yeah. So. Yes. Kelariis, you are thrust back into the room where a number of people are pointing swords at each other and V is sort of standing between them, like, hands extended.
But not in like a spell casting hands extended.
No, like sort of a nobody move. Meanwhile, like the bearded man is like he's like shrinking back in his chair and looks like he's just pissed himself.
Wow.
Well, in
He's
that
just
case,
gonna be
we'll
like-
just...
Oh yeah, he is also like sweating profusely.
Yeah,
He's just gonna be like, see? No problem.
I'm just gonna look over in that direction expectantly.
Yeah. Tallithsyr is just like nervously holding the longsword and just like turns to you and just like, Shiva, let's just go.
It's what he did isn't right. God, I want to punch him so bad.
No,
but I
nobody
can't do it.
contests
I'm not gonna
anything
do
that
it.
you say. I mean, you can punch him if you want to.
I know, but I shouldn't, because I really don't want to
Don't.
start a fight with everybody else.
Really don't.
I really don't want to do this here.
Although the way everybody is looking at you, like everybody in this room is pretty goddamn scared of you.
I think I repeat what I said before I left, and but this time I look at everybody in the mercenary company because I don't know. She assumes that like everybody was in on this whole thing.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'll say it again because the others didn't hear it. That I despise every single one of you who would dare take advantage of somebody who just wants to help. And I think, or no, I don't think. I know that that's a matter of dishonor on all of you.
Okay.
So
Make-
I'm you.
Make me an intimidation check
now?
with advantage.
Oh
Sorry,
boy.
you. Sorry on your
Alright, Kelariis, here's the time.
Okay.
Not the worst. Doesn't
They
matter.
seem sufficiently intimidated.
Okay. I think I put my hand on Thalithsyr's shoulder and say, let's go.
Okay.
I think this is what we can do here. I'm still pissed.
Yeah. You put the staff away, or the
Yeah.
baton away.
So
I like
guess,
heavy stomp out the room.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess
Yeah.
Nobody
I'll go
stops
forward
you.
Pretty quickly as you're leaving, just go. So what exactly happened there?
I just asked them a couple of questions.
Kelariis pulled out
that's-
the little staff she got. That's all I saw.
Yeah, unfortunately, that level of like, vagueness isn't going to fill the details here.
I mean, that's exactly what I did. I asked him a couple of questions.
Yeah, like
And he
what?
gave me answers that cemented the fact that he's a complete piece of shit. Excuse my language.
But what did he actually say?
I mean, basically what we'd heard from Thalithsyr, that he'd promised, or that he said that she'd be part of their mercenary group if she helped them. Didn't promise a specific reward, but that's still going back on the word in my mind. And that he wouldn't pay up what was owed to her. But I'm not bringing it to fists in this town, so...
Just at least this one worked out.
If... On a worse day, I don't think it would have worked out as well for him, but... You can be glad for that one, Vondal.
I leave you alone for 10 seconds.
You've seen worse happen before.
Much worse.
I think at that point I kind of like turn to Tallithsyr and say, I'm sorry we couldn't get you exactly what you were owed from them.
Yeah, you look at her and she looks like, honestly, like a little bit kind of scared.
I think membership with that lot is no longer truly desired.
Yeah, she just sort of she turns to you, Kelariis, and just sort of says, "It's okay."
I think I'll give her a hug. God,
Okay.
Kelariis is giving out so many hugs today.
Yeah, you just hug her.
Yeah. Especially because she seems scared. Like, I kind of feel bad about that.
Yeah.
I mean, after that, I don't think they would ever try anything like that again, so at least that's a thing.
I hope not.
Sort of addressing this, Vondal's just gonna sort of go, your friend is certainly passionate, shall we say.
Yeah, she looks at you and like she smiles about that and like genuinely seems to like agree with that.
I may have some other words to describe her at times, but
We're friends. We're all friends.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, shall we have a rest for the evening and night?
You head up to the other end of the town square and go to the Silvered Goblet.
Find another room. If
Fancy
we haven't done
rooms.
already.
So you're gonna buy a separate room for Tallithsyr.
Well,
Yep.
I guess we'd ask, do you want a room?
She turns to Kelariis and says, "Can't I just stay with you?"
I mean, that's fine with me. You know I wouldn't say no to that.
Do you have a bed? Or like, do you have like an extra bed?
I'm sure
Tallithsyr pulls out like her bedroll.
I'm sure they could provide an extra bed in there potentially.
You can ask.
Yeah.
Can we
we'll,
ask?
We'll get you a bed, don't worry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess we ask.
They agree to exchange your room for a twin.
Oh, okay, cool.
There we go.
So, wait, I don't think we've actually paid for the room, so do we all deduct the gold?
Good point.
Yes.
We should do that now.
You can do that for Zudar as well, Grim,
Okay.
because he'll pay for his own.
Wait, I deducted from Sudar's goal.
Deducted from Zudar's gold, yes.
I haven't actually been adding the gold I pay Sudar to Sudar.
I have.
Ah, okay.
There you go then.
Does the twin room cost more?
No,
Oh, okay.
no. It's just instead of getting a double bed, you get two singles.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's still the same. It's still a similar room. It's just different.
Yeah.
layout.
Everybody else just has double beds.
God, Grim has so much room then.
Yeah. Grim just like lies down on the bed, and it's just like an ocean.
I
You
should've
just swim in it.
Yeah.
saved my belt for this, be tiny.
Oh,
You could do that the next morning.
good.
Yeah,
God.
but I would spend the charge for the day, which
Just run around under the bedclothes as Tiny Grim.
see what it's like.
It's like it's his own adventure.
Yeah.
Or see what it's like to be too big. for a bed.
Well, except you won't be too big because you'll be medium and it'll still be a double bed.
Yeah, but like Kelariis range. So.
Yeah, I mean, I still fit on the bed mostly.
Yeah. Oh well.
Before you go to sleep, you guys have something to eat in the tavern kitchen. Or in the tavern dining room, rather. Is there anything you guys want to talk about before you go to sleep?
We should probably talk about the whole touch the button thing. Or are we not going to talk about that?
What?
I mean, it's entirely up to you if you bring it up.
Well, I guess Vondal definitely has something to ask about, which is to sort of say to Tallithsyr, just like, so, what are you gonna do now?
Just turn to Kelariis. I guess I was gonna kind of come with you, if that's okay.
I mean, I definitely don't see why not. I have no objections.
You can hang out with Zudar.
I guess we sort of explain the route for her. Let Vondal give her the rundown of the route, so she
Cool.
knows where we're going.
Oh.
She has very little concept of geography, so.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's
I
very
guess
good.
actually, I guess at that point, like she turns to Grim and says, "So, do I work for you now?"
Well, I guess in name, yes, but it's not really a big deal. Not yet, at least.
Wait, so is Zira the first official member of the Amerigo?
Oh my god.
Second.
Well, yeah.
Second.
On
Technically,
paper, yes.
on paper, yes, but ultimately, that is down to her.
Also, you have Zudar on the payroll, but he's not technically.
Enrolled.
Well, we haven't gone
V
through
is just gonna
forms.
clap and be like, "Congrats, Grim! You have a new member."
Oh my god.
Yeah. The series seems to like fairly satisfied with that.
Oh.
Oh.
Well, congratulations, you have a dragonborn in your mercenary company now.
Oh yeah, I didn't even
Not the
think.
Dragonborn you were expecting.
Not the dragonborn you were expecting.
But the
Yeah,
dragon
this
I
one's-
deserve? Question
Wow.
But
Wow.
yeah, Tallithsyr sort of like turns to Kelariis and sort of like between the two of you is like, but it's okay if I still help Kelariis, right? Like I guess I'm kind of like your squire.
I honestly I don't really need a squire right now.
No, I mean Kelariis' squire.
Oh no, but like I was like asking or like
Sheevy's
answering as in
squire.
like I don't need anything, and
Yeah.
I'm not really
Please.
expecting much like from you in that regard.
Let's
So
say
yeah, you just have fun with Kelariis.
you have a great degree of operational freedom, so to speak.
I'd be
Yep.
honored to have you as my squire, Tallithsyr.
She seems massively happy about that.
Oh.
Although she will be on your payroll.
Oh my god.
I'll take care of her, don't
Look,
worry.
I can barely afford Sudar. Well, now I
Oh,
have,
Grim.
now I
Zudar
have
is
some money
worth a
again.
lot.
No, yeah, he's got money again.
I
gave
have
him
money
some
again, but like he's slowly bleeding me dry.
Oh my god.
Jeez.
Do you need a little more?
No, I have plenty.
Okay.
Zudar, like as you're like having this conversation, he turns to you and is just like, "It's no wonder you have no money to pay me when you spend 500 gold on magic items."
Damn.
Well, called out.
Wow. Look,
But have you seen
sometimes
the belt though? It's super cool.
I did see the belt. It is very cool.
that does not sound like Sudar at all, but it's
Think of it.
Right.
Think of it as a
He
long-term
is
investment.
humoring V.
oh,
It's hard not to humor V.
This is true.
yeah.
I want to know what the Zira thinks.
Oh,
Doesn't
I
he
guess
know
the
it's Arya?
introductions earlier were like super rushed, so I'd probably do
Yeah.
like a proper introduction now.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
So yeah, you introduce all of your companions to Tallithsyr, but how do you introduce Tallithsyr to everybody else?
Oh fuck! I didn't think about this.
Neither did Kelariis.
Shit.
I'm very interested now.
Oh God, I think she's kind of like flounders for a second, like
Yeah.
when she realizes she doesn't know how she's gonna exactly introduce the Sierra and say,
I think you should just talk, and what you say is what Kelariis says,
Yeah.
because I feel like you're both in the same state.
yeah, and well, this is the Sierra. She's somebody that I met a while ago and is a good friend of mine and very, very important to me, and now my squire. Yeah, and that's it. That's pretty much it.
Oh, Kelariis.
She's very important to me, and yeah.
Okay.
Is a very good friend.
To all of you like observing this is the first time in a long time that you've seen Kelariis struggle in a conversation, and it reminds you of back when you first met and she didn't ever tell you anything.
Wow.
So you get the feeling that she is telling you the truth, but like not getting anywhere close to like the full explanation.
Well, friends of Clara's are friends of us, so and I like new friends.
Honestly, I don't think I could have put it better.
Yeah, welcome to the team.
Quite the ragtag bunch, as you may have noticed.
I like to think you do a little toast to the new member.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely to that one.
Except that Tallithsyr can't drink, so
God, she's so young.
God,
she's like
that
13.
young. Wow.
I know.
Oh,
Wow.
well, at least it's
She's not even a dragonborn adult yet.
Yeah, she's very young.
Yeah.
She's a teenager.
Yeah.
How old is Kelariis again?
I mean, like
You're-
actual years, like 15.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which is
you're
the
15,
equivalent of
nearly
20
16.
Yeah,
God, it's
which
really
is the
weird to
equivalent
think
of
that
like
I am literally over 10 times older than you both.
How do you think I feel?
It's fine.
Yeah, you're like, well,
A
similar.
lot.
Why? How old are you? in actual
I
years?
am, I think we decided on 185.
Yes.
Oh, you're only 10
something like
years
that.
older than me then.
Oh, well, that's not that bad.
You also mature at a much slower rate because, like, literally, you have a child brother who is older than Tallithsyr.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Like
older than
infant
Kelariis, too.
brother.
Yeah.
Also, like,
It's fine. Everybody's older than
you
us.
still look really young. Vondal's probably got a few greys popping up.
Oh, no.
Oh no.
And then
Very
there's V,
possibly.
who is still very young, but in like 100 years she will still look the same.
God
You are
damn it.
doomed to look like a child until you are at least like 200 years old.
Yep.
God, that's a long time.
I mean, if anything, it means, you know, as technology gets better, she'll get to pay child tickets for more things.
And to
Wow.
that, I feel like that's not a concept that exists in this time period, but okay.
No.
It might be later. You never know. You know, the gnomes are pretty handy with technology. That they might come up with a thing for that.
As Vondal goes on one of his slightly racist rants about gnomes, the rest of you.
Just gonna let it go.
He's middle aged.
Anyway, so yeah, if that's everything you guys talk about, you are welcome to
Good
retire
fucking
to your rooms.
More days of traveling ahead of us.
Alright.
Indeed.
So,
Yeah, so with that, you guys all get a long rest. All of your long rest things restore. And you wake up the next morning feeling well rested. And with that, I think that's a good place to end the session.
yeah.
So, I guess it is time for people to tell me what it is that they have learned today.
God, guys, we're gonna get like shit experience.
You are going to get
It's
shit
the-
experience because you
It's the
fought
second session in a row
literally
where
nothing.
we fought literally nothing.
Could have fought the mercenaries.
You could
It's a
have.
very good thing we didn't.
They would not have given you very much experience.
No, I know.
Also, they would have gotten us in a lot of
Yeah.
trouble.
Only if we got caught.
Hey, even if we beat them up without anyone noticing, then
Yeah,
the fucking innkeeper who we asked about the room of would go, well, these people came in asking for this group's room.
I'd like to
Now
point
they're
out
all
that
unconscious.
if Kelariis, if you had punched the guy, even like the minimum damage for punching somebody as an unskilled, unarmed combatant, you would have knocked him out.
Oh,
my
damn.
God.
Because
Oh, I guess
he
yeah,
had
'cause he took...
he had like 4 health left after
Yeah.
taking 3d6 psychic damage.
Well, I fucking told him to tell the truth. He didn't listen.
Rip.
Damn, I should have punched him. No, but then all the other mercenaries
No,
would have pissed.
no, you shouldn't have. You
Come on,
really...
why?
No, what Ferrous just said was not extra reason for you to punch him. It was extra reason for you to.
I think
not
Kelariis would have
punch
been perfectly in character to punch him.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not arguing it was not in character. I'm arguing that it's a terrible idea.
I
Which
kind
it
of,
is.
well, I should probably say this in like my fucking.
Yeah, let's start doing
Yeah.
doing character recaps,
Okay.
character breakdowns.
I have to be careful to not slip back into Alika because every time, like especially with the fucking bandits or whatever the fuck they're called, I was just like, oh my god, I so want to threaten these guys. I just want to tell them like we could fuck you up in seconds, but
Oh
I
my
know
God.
that you wouldn't.
Yeah,
That is not a me thing to do at all.
No, I know. It's so hard. Oh man. Yeah, I have to go back into plan trial mode, and it might take a while.
God.
It's so hard. I'm just.
your heart has hardened from being an evil bitch for too long.
It's also
Wow.
just like I can feel myself like getting like a. Maybe it was just because it took so long, but I was just getting impatient, and I was like, I really want to see. I really want these guys to just fuck off, and they're not going to. So like, but you wouldn't threaten them, and that's so hard. God damn it. Yeah, I don't know. I've learned that it is hard to be sweet and pure.
I'm sorry, I don't know why I laughed at that.
In case I'm pretty happy that we got to meet fuck. Hate her so much.
No,
It's,
why did
it's
you
okay,
think-
I had to write her name like 5 times in a character sheet, and the amount of times I wrote Teresa is unreal.
I mean,
Wow.
it's not about writing. I know exactly how to spell it. It's just that my mouth cannot make this actively think about it. Ugh. I'm gonna struggle with that a lot. But yeah, I think it's nice to see her. I kind of like from the moment she was like, "Oh yeah, we got a dragon boy," I was just, it's gotta be her. It's gotta be her. And it was like,
Am I
at some
really
point-
that transparent?
Well, at some point it made sense because I remembered you talking about like how you had like the perfect squire for Kelariis in
Yep.
your head, and the moment we met her, I was like, duh, fuck. Why didn't I realize the moment you just said that? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, she's cool. I like her. I also like Fijnu stick of trying to bless people and just being like, but how?
Yep.
That's also another thing. I was just like, when we were in the fucking room with the guys, I was considering having V be like, I am a guardian of life. Oh my god.
God.
Even though
That
she
would've been
herself has
amazing.
no fucking idea what that. But they wouldn't know that.
I just can't wait for the next time you meet the Shadow of Death and you're like, I've been blessing babies! And she'll be like, why the fuck are you wasting your time?
No, I'm not wasting my time.
That's what you get clerics for.
No,
She's trying her best.
I'm doing my best. Yeah. Look, maybe if the Shadow of Death had actually fucking told me what the fuck my job was, I wouldn't be here blessing babies. But look, it is the way it is.
She expects you to work that out for yourself.
People are expecting too much of V. She's only 17.
It's
Anyway.
fine.
She's a dancing queen.
She's got plenty of.
Yeah, we've done that joke.
Yeah, we
There's
got-
fan art of that joke.
Yes, there is.
That's true.
Yeah. It's cool being back to second age, but at the same time, I'm just, oh god, adjusting is so hard.
Yeah. Play a character for too long, you become
have
that
no
character.
Yeah, and I have no idea how people like play like multiple sessions like a week and just have like different characters
Yeah, I
that they
would
can
never
easily
be able
slip
to.
between. I have no idea how. I have a newfound respect for people who have to roleplay multiple characters. So yeah.
Cool, yeah. You can have 550 experience.
Weehoo. Oh, what speed am I on again? At the moment?
Oh, yeah, we never-
Oh, yes. This is something I actually need to have a conversation with you guys about as a group, but that will come after session.
Wait. Go. Okay. Whatever.
Well, what XP is Arya on? Because you'll be roughly the same, so...
I'm on 5,000 or 5,100. Out.
51,288.
Yes, I can't speak words.
5,000. No, 51. No.
So add
500
550 to
also
that.
no.
550. Calculator.
Who's next?
I guess I'll go. So I guess out of character, it was once again quite fun to have the sort of morals versus law kind of thing going on,
Yep.
which is always sometimes like I will look back at it and go, yeah, that was pretty fun, but I realize I do get sort of very invested, and it's very much something I tend to have to think about a lot more, because if it was actually me in that situation, I'd very much be of the mind of like, yeah, he's exploiting loopholes in the law. To me, that is very much a no-go. And yeah, like, he would have totally gone along with Grim's suggestion.
Yeah.
Like, I would totally would have gone along with Grim's suggestion, but Vondal's not the same in that regard.
I mean, Vondal still thinks it's bad to exploit
Yeah.
the law, but there's nothing he can do because, as far as
Yeah.
he's concerned, it's legal.
Yeah, Vondal's more willing to go, at the end of the day, this is the law, this is why they exist. If people exploit them, there's nothing we can do about it. Except, try and pass more legislation.
Educate people in the
he's-
laws, etc.
Yeah, but he's not in a position to do that. So as far as he's concerned, he's done all he could to help and resolve the situation. There was nothing more he could do.
Yes.
So it is good fun to have these sort of morals versus the law, because I think it is the fun of playing a lawful good character. Having to like judge up these decisions and sometimes sacrifice one at the expense of the other,
Indeed.
even though you're supposed to follow both. In character, in character, Vondal's missed V, probably. Like, he's very glad to see her back. He probably was, as much as he got confused by V's sort of exposition, he was trying his best to follow along with every detail. He's just getting confused because the Fae and everything in this forest so far is weird and confusing, and there's a lot of things confusing him so far with their adventures, and that
Yes.
was no exception.
You are incredibly glad to be back in a society that is relatively normal and ruled by general regulation and law,
Yeah, exactly.
which is where you grew up, or
Yeah, it's
spent most of your life at least.
yeah, it's very, very like Elven society is very, very different to the human society Vondal will have grown up with, or at least lived through for the majority of his life.
Yeah.
And then meeting Tallithsyr was also very interesting for him, for the insight it gives into Kelariis as a person. Like, So like even before like he'd met Kelariis, she was still very much someone who inspired others, clearly. And it's like, it's like an indication that she's been like this for quite some time. Like she's always been the kind of person, for a while been the kind of person to just go with her gut.
Yeah.
And
always been the mom friend.
yeah. And
I mean-
like I always say, as much as Vondal doesn't like it at the time, he does understand where she's coming from. As much as he doesn't like it, he, at the very least, respects why she does it.
Yeah, cool. 550 experience. Next person.
Well, I can go. Because after 700 years, we finally have in-character knowledge about this link between us.
Indeed. Yes.
It's been such a long time coming, oh my god.
You can
I mean, it
finally
hasn't
start
really-
deconstructing it.
I was gonna say, we haven't really started like digging into what it really means, but we know about it now.
Yes.
Which is a significant step forward, as opposed to not knowing about it. Yeah. Arya's had some interesting moments this session. Dawn's Light is gone, which is pretty sad.
Rip.
I'm very sad that I've lost my favorite weapon.
F in the comments.
F in the comments, yep. I have to pay respects to Dawn's Light. Rip magical girl transformations forever.
I could do you more.
What?
I could do you more.
Great.
That's fine.
Yeah, and this Hannah character, she doesn't really know what to make of
Mm.
her. She doesn't like her because she's really not a fan of like everything that she seems to stand for.
Hmm.
Which is like a whole bunch of like bullshit pride and pomp and circumstance. Which is why her and Lyra get along so well. Because
Yes.
they're both like that. I mean, how much more humble can you be than becoming a literal animal who is bound to a person trying to do good in the world? Yeah. As a character, what have I learned as a character? All side stories have characters that are in your backstories. This is like canon now. Canon and real. Which is fine. I'm happy to be learning about other people's backstories.
Especially as
Which is nice.
Arya was one of the few people who actually knew who Tallithsyr was by name.
Yeah. I did.
So you had that conversation in Silverbrook
It
all
was-
those
I was
years
a little-
ago.
Yeah, it was like 3,000 years ago when we were back wherever the fuck we were. Was it in Silverbrook?
It was in
Yeah,
Silverbrook.
we took
Oh
we
my
took a
God.
late night walk in
Yeah.
Silverbrook
Oh yeah.
and had a conversation.
Oh god,
Because
yeah.
it was
we
the
talked about
first
fields.
nightmare you ever had.
Yeah. Yeah, I was kind of sad I wasn't there when they first saw her, because I feel like it would have been more impactful. I mean, Arya's
Hmm.
still pretty... been like, whoa, this girl is like here now, but... oh well.
Yeah.
I feel like her and Kelariis, like... I don't know, out of everyone in this party, I feel like we have the most understanding between our characters, which is kind of interesting.
It was unexpected to say the least.
It was very unexpected, because, yeah, I don't know. But now, like, I find myself agreeing with Kelariis' views the most, which is interesting.
I mean, you're
Probably
both chaotic good. Surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True. And we have, like, I feel like we have similar traumas and bullshit in the past, so. But it's definitely not what I was expecting coming into this campaign. But
Oh yeah.
it's good, I like it. It's nice when things don't play out exactly how you imagine them in your mind. Sometimes.
It's nice to be surprised every now and again.
It is.
Cool. Yeah. Take your experience. Grim and Kelariis, fight it out.
Wow.
Well,
Just pick up
well,
Grim and like toss him.
Oh my god.
Well, not anymore, you don't.
I mean, maybe.
As long as you don't tell the elf.
What?
Wow.
Lord of the Rings.
Oh yeah. Toss me.
Don't tell the elf.
I cannot jump there. Go jump there. Toss.
Well, I guess you have a ton to say, so I'll go first. Let's see. So as player, it's kind of interesting, like having another member join the party.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think she's gonna be a little more like part of the party a little bit more actively than Sudar, or at least like that's the sense she gives me.
Yeah.
Also, it's a massive piece of the backstory puzzle that we call
Indeed.
Kelariis.
Ow!
Wow, that
Wow.
was a really poetic way of saying that.
Mm.
Look.
I'm a poet
She answers
sometimes.
most questions.
Yeah, have a round of applause for that one.
But yeah, furthermore, I'm very interested in this like belt because it's gonna offer like a lot of opportunities.
Yes.
Because Grim already struggled with like large stuff, but it's gonna improve a lot, and his just general control is gonna be a lot more reliable.
Fun story about that. I sat down one evening looking through your character sheets, and I saw that Grim had the least magic items of all of the group members, and I thought, what could I make a fun item for Grim? And I made this item, and I thought, this is going to be super fun. And I needed a good place to give it to you. And when you walked into town and you were like, I want to see if there's any magic items, I was like, oh yes, here we go.
Played unknowingly into his hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember saying that I was like looking for something to maybe increase my effectiveness that wasn't just straight up damage.
Yep, and I gave you
think this
exactly
should-
that.
This should definitely help with that.
Yes.
Uh,
Improve your control and your damage.
Yes.
And your versatility in the fact that you can now be tiny.
Yep. It's only a minute, so I'm gonna have to be quick.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how effective it's gonna be within like out of combat situations in that regard.
Yeah, how
gonna be
quick do you go when you're tiny?
Oh, yeah,
Um,
that's a point.
How far
I
do
should-
your small legs carry you?
Because also technically as well, being medium would make your base walking speed 30. So
Oh,
Being
shit.
small would maybe make it 20.
we'll work it out. We'll work it out.
Okay. Afterwards.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm kind of curious to see how that works out. Yeah. And I guess that were the main points as a player. Well, always the struggle versus, lawful versus neutral, and
Yeah.
other types of good.
I did like that Grim took Vondal aside and gave him a logical debate about like why he wanted him to help, because it was interesting to see Grim take a passionate approach in approaching something from a legal side, which is interesting to see.
In hindsight, I was like, maybe obstruction of justice because he didn't tell the truth to the.
Oh
but,
my
you know,
god.
Yeah.
But
We weren't
that was
official
hindsight.
investigators.
Yeah.
We're not the city merchant.
As Grim, I guess like he does see the value in like Vondal's approach, but I think often he doesn't see a legal route, so to speak,
Yes.
because a lot of people are very hard to actually pin down.
Yeah.
But then he realized the zone of truth makes it a lot easier if you can just make people confess.
Yeah.
Not that it turned out this way, but
I thought it was a very grim approach. Sort of like, we can't prove that they said anything, but we can with magic.
although we kind of used Zone of Truth, a more painful version.
Yes.
Look, it didn't have to be
A
painful.
much more
Yeah.
effective version.
He made it painful. It's his own fault.
So yeah, I'm definitely curious about the Kelariis' nickname, or if it is a nickname.
Mm.
Has
Maybe
she
it's her
lied
real
to
name
me?
and she's been lying to us the whole time. Holy shit, that would have been a plot twist.
Yeah, that's a plot.
But when you first met, she did refer to her as Kelariis, and does occasionally refer to her as Kelariis when she's talking about her, but when she's talking to her... It seems to be used as a term of admiration and respect, as much as it is...
Senpai, holy
But it's
fuck.
also
It is
loving and
literally
friendly.
senpai.
Christ.
It's
No,
senpai now.
it's
No.
It's senpai now. You do
It's-
realise now, to them
It's
it's
too late.
senpai forever.
It's too late.
oh
To
god.
Helena
It's
and
really
Luka,
too late.
That's
Like, you
forever
can't take
their
that back.
version of senpai.
We can talk about that later.
Oh my god.
Because it does actually have a meaning in Draconic.
It's senpai.
Fucking hell.
Oh, terrible. But yeah,
No,
Um,
it doesn't.
that's gonna be interesting. Well, of course, he actually signed a person to his guild now.
Yeah.
Which
Hey.
Fucking amazing.
just
Fucking
a random
believe it.
person. Didn't expect that to happen. I was like, well, you know, all these papers actually useful,
Yeah.
and not just a dream. Although
I'm
I'm
just
happy.
surprised that you still haven't asked us if we want to be part of your
I
fucking
know!
guild.
Oh, I've
I mean-
actually I've asked like a fair amount of you, but like it's
Not recently.
Yeah,
Not
well,
recently,
that's,
no.
well, this is the thing. You've already asked Vondal, and Vondal has said he will consider it.
no. I
like
at some point
millions
You
Seconds
asked me
ago.
back in Hatch's Cross when we first met,
but,
Yeah,
like,
it's been a
I
while.
and he was like, "Whenever I'm not occupied, sure."
See, the thing is, like, there's no reason for me to ask you to join right now because we're already a group, and like, we have no reason to. We're not splitting up. We've like I
Yeah.
fully expect to like hang out with you guys for quite some time.
We're hanging
If we
out.
decide, I think if and when we decide to call it quits, that's when Grim will be like, "Would you consider joining my mercenary company?"
Like, or maybe if there's like some like technical benefit, like, oh yeah, you all need to be part in order to do this thing, you know.
Yeah,
because
we-
then
Well,
you can
we-
buy
if you
it.
do mercenary work in the human realms, you will need to
That
be...
might actually,
Yeah.
Ugh.
yeah, that might be true because even though me and Fazira are covered.
Yeah.
And
And Zudar is technically on your payroll, so...
Yeah. Well, luckily we included like a reward, reward share only agreement, so it's fine. No, we'll figure that out. But yeah, that's exciting.
Guys, I totally know what we need on our new bingo card. We forget about Zudar.
Oh my god.
Shit.
We forget about a companion. Just full stop.
Yeah.
Oh god.
We forget.
It's like when you go to the store but forget to take your kids.
Oh no.
Oh,
See,
no.
I'm waiting for like the seconds like fully settle in when I make a bingo card, but I'm getting great ideas.
I've just
Yeah,
thought now.
it's-
Just
that
when you go
is-
to the shop and forget the kids. Just oh no, back at home. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah!
As the kids go wild.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that's
God.
basically it. Yeah, well, interested to see like more of the world again. But yeah, that's about it for Grim.
See, I just visualize every time you guys are like, wait, we forgot about Zudar. You just turn around and he's just there, like in the scene, looking at something else, just drawing in his book, just like not paying attention to anything that you guys are doing. He has like zero interest.
I mean, that
Well,
probably
like
is what
occasionally, I just imagine him like actually paying attention, writing down what we're doing.
Yep.
And I was like, they forgot
Criticizing
about me
us.
again today, but I remember to follow.
Oh.
Day 46.
Oh,
They forgot
no.
me again.
Like that's
Oh,
what I
no.
pay him for.
I pray they'll
pay him to
remember me
follow.
in the end.
Oh my god.
I just can't wait for you guys to be like, wait, so what were we doing here again? And Zudar's like, I've got it written down.
Thanks,
To be
Zudar.
fair- To be fair, in the Zudar probably features in Vondal's journal. He just hasn't featured in any of the bits I've written down as being especially important. But Vondal probably did write. When we met Grim again, just like, oh, he had someone with him.
That's it. That's the only
Well,
mention
no,
Zudar
that-
Poor
has.
Zudar.
It is
Mention of
written
Zudar.
proof that Zudar exists.
Actually,
Like
so
journal
far,
contains plenty of proof of what Zudar has done and said.
Sudar has mainly provided us with information
Yes.
and
Also-
the occasional heal.
Yeah, some
Yeah, I
knowledge.
was gonna say.
Also, when you get further south, he will also be more useful in terms of information because that's where he comes from.
Oh shit, that's a fair point.
And who knows? Oh no, well, we already have Vondal with Orcish, right?
Yeah, I speak
Yeah.
Elvish.
Yeah, because why not?
Well, my logic was I wanted to speak Elvish because it made somewhat sense that he'd go for that one, and then I was like, I want something else with a dwarvish script. So Orcish.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess it leaves Kelariis.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, boy,
Here
howdy
we go.
was- Oh boy.
Oh boy.
I see. The thing is that I was incredibly suspicious as soon as we rolled up to the town gates, and the guards were like, "Oh yeah, there's another one of your kind that's locked up," and I was like, "Excuse me, you did what? You did what to this other dragonborn?" And I was very careful to play it. Like, Kelariis probably wouldn't have immediately thought, like, she wouldn't have thought that it was Tallithsyr. I as Jayla had this very incredible suspicion about it, but I was like, she doesn't think about this. She hasn't thought about this at all, so she went on just like, oh, this is just some other person. Maybe this can get sorted out. And then that quickly changed where she's like, no, I'm very invested in this because holy shit, that's like one of the people that I care about a lot. And I think, see, this is a whole mess because like it's a mess for me and it's a mess for Kelariis because in some set, like, no, words, this wasn't expected at all in a really weird way.
Yeah.
Even
the fact
though I
that-
was suspicious.
Yeah. There is now a person in your immediate vicinity who knows all of your secrets.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, I think Kelariis cares a little not cares less, but isn't as worried about that, because the thing is that there's almost everything I think if somebody were to ask her about among these, like, her party mates and her friends, I think she'd tell them at this point. Like, there's nothing I think that I can think of off the top of my head that she wouldn't immediately just come out and say if she was asked about it, but she's not going to come out and do it on her own.
Yeah.
And though maybe I guess she wouldn't always know how exactly to word it, like with introducing Tallithsyr, she's like, fuck, like Tallithsyr is really important to me, but I don't know how to put that into words in a way that like properly expresses that.
She was
Because,
very
like-
happy with "you're important to me."
Oh, Tallithsyr, please. My heart. God, I love her. And like in my bonds, I have written down like that Kelariis, she's one of the people that Kelariis would literally give her life to protect. But like Kelariis wouldn't say that necessarily. Well, she wouldn't necessarily say that, at least not in a casual like introduction sense.
Yeah.
Hi, by the way, I would die for you.
Yeah. Like that's
just
just a
so
little weird to introduce somebody
Casual.
that way. It's just casually, it's fine.
Yeah, just, this is Tallithsyr. I would die for her.
Like she totally would, but she wouldn't say it that way. And I think now she's kind of realizing that she's going to have to be this, and this is really weird for her, but I think because she knows, at least to an extent, how much Tallithsyr looks up to her, I think she's going to she realizes she has to try and be a bit less I'm going to do things because I don't care about the consequences, because she realizes that she might get dragged into that. And while she knows that her party mates, like the people she's been traveling with, can take care of themselves, she's still very protective of Tallithsyr.
Yeah.
especially after seeing her equipment when she first got it back, she's like, oh god, this is what you came here with. I'm so concerned.
Yeah.
And I think in terms of saying like how you said it wouldn't have really been out of character for Kelariis to punch what's his face, Miralyn. I think she didn't because the Syrah was there, and I think she remembers what Grimm said in his letter about being, or like when he left, about kind of V sort of quote unquote looking up to Kelariis in a sense, and like sometimes taking cues from Kelariis, and how sometimes she should be more aware of how other people might follow in her footsteps. And she's like, fuck, I don't want the Syrah to get in as much trouble as I did, even though she has like the right intentions. So I think for her that was very much like, she thought about it. She really, really thought about it, but she's like, no, because that's not the example I want to set for her.
Yeah, think of the fucking tattoo that I have because of you.
I'm so sorry.
I mean,
so
it was
yeah,
also my
that's the
decision,
thing.
but it might be something that Kelariis is just like, shit.
Yeah, and yeah, there's a lot of shit there, because I think that happened. Yeah, because that happened before Grimm left as well. So
Yeah, just before.
yeah, so like that was another thing. Like it's just that whole thing, and she's thought about that since that letter.
Yeah.
And hasn't really had a reason to really act on that suggestion, but like now has a very specific person who it's like, oh my god, no, like I have to be a good example for her. Like this is the person that I really want to be careful about, like what sort of example I set.
Yeah.
Which is weird because she's never really thought about that in this way before.
Yeah. I will confess to including this character to test your conviction.
God damn
Wow.
it.
Haha, you have to have moral conflicts like I do now.
I know. Like she's still definitely
The moral conflict bandwagon.
because I don't think it's gonna stop her completely from acting upon things, but I think she might be less extreme than she has in the past.
Yeah.
In certain situations. So, I don't know, I guess we'll see.
Fingers
There's
crossed.
a lot. There's a lot here all of a sudden.
I'm sure that's how Kelariis feels.
Yeah, but she's really happy to see her again. Like, don't get me wrong, she wasn't expecting it, but she's very happy to see Tallithsyr again. And to see that she's doing well, like, she's,
Yeah.
here and alive and seems to be doing well for herself for the most part. So,
Yeah, certainly come a long way from swinging the sword around in a forest by yourselves.
yeah, I'm very proud of her.
Yeah, cool. You may take
Side
your
note-
experience.
Side note, there's like also, I'm having a hard time like shaking things that I fucking picked up from the other group as well. Because like whenever they meet someone they don't know, they always say whomst, and like every time I see someone now, or like whenever you describe someone that I don't know, my brain just goes, and I'm just like, stop! This isn't you, Helena!
Did
Okay.
they brainwash you?
Maybe.
Oh god.
We're
We
gonna
should have known.
Quick, how do we brainwash someone? We're gonna have to undo it.
And on that
We have
bombshell,
to up the level of bro nodding that happens.
Oh yeah.
I need
indeed.
greater restoration, guys.
So, with that, I'd like to say thank you all for playing, thank you all for watching, and we'll see you all next time.
See ya!
Goodbye.
Bye.